Definitely.
Hi there, everybody, and welcome to Bradley Powers' Esoteric Hours with guest Jim Andre, the legend, psychic healer, alien
Hi,
abductee.
everybody. Let me correct him. I'm a co-host. I'm not the guest. But go ahead.
The guest is Julie Ann Guthrie Smolson, the legend. The princess is here.
Thank you for the warm introduction, Bradley.
And this is a reminder to beware, smallpox is on the loose. No, monkeypox is on the loose. And if you continue wearing this mask, you risk causing yourself to suffer with cancer. Cancer can thrive in a body where you cover your face up with a mask, plus inhibiting oxygen, causing it damp and moist within your body, making it an ideal habitat for cancer to spread. So I won't be wearing that any longer. You don't need it, to be honest with you.
Hi, Chris. Joan Marie. How you doing?
Hi there, Vic Makaroff. Hi guys.
Hi, Vic.
Yeah. Oh, no. I nearly shared the wrong show.
All right, so Bradley's going to be sharing for a while. So, Julie, if you want to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm just like everybody else that heads down the spiritual path. There's some sort of catalyst that compels us to go down the path. And, in the process of healing, I am here now. So, and in doing so, I wrote about my experiences with, spiritual stuff, paranormal stuff, things, the skeptic is always questioning. I was a skeptic, and I'm still a skeptic sometimes, So I'm an author now. I'm a podcaster. I've become a Reiki master, teacher, sound healer, Akashic Records reader. My big thing that I love to do is remote viewing, paranormal investigations. So, all of these things have come around over the last few years, and I'm still developing skills and going new places. One of the things that I want to do now is go and work in different dimensions. So
now, when you mentioned the Akashic Records, you were able to read previous lives?
Yeah. Actually, I just finished a second book. This was my first book, Master in the Making. It's about, becoming master over oneself. So the second book, I had someone ask me what happened to you when you were 8. So I have these 2 very epic lifetimes that I had to go back and explore. And actually, I'm still exploring them. In fact, last week I did a session with a past life regression hypnotist, and I found out more information. So, one of my lifetimes was Thomas Paine. So with Thomas Paine, there's a lot of history that's not in the history books, so right now I'm working on a video of that session to put out there in the public. So my hypnotist and I are going to go through and kind of do a documentary on it.
That'll be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So, a lot of this is linked to the Freemasons and aliens that came here during Babylonian times.
So do you have the ability to read the past lives of others? Can you pick up on that? Or
Yeah. In fact, last week on my podcast on Wednesday, I did a live Akashic Records reading for someone, and they have very unusual questions about the past and the future. So I was viewing their past, their present, and their future. So it got really interesting because this person doesn't believe in reincarnation, but they believe that our energetic consciousness continually lives on.
well, yeah,
So,
the energy, yeah, the consciousness, yeah, I believe that as
yeah,
well. I mean, that does live on. I mean, that never dies.
yeah,
It just changes shape and form.
yeah. My family in this lifetime had connections to the Freemasons. I was taken to rituals. So these two past lifetimes are connected to this lifetime and exposing some things, some major things about this. And I actually have channeled through the Akashic Records that there's artifacts that will support my work and what I've done in this lifetime in this book.
Yeah. Chris Joan Marie says that her dad's father was a Mason. Her grandfather was a Mason. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't the Masons part of the Illuminati, which are actually part of the 1%?
So how my story goes is
I don't think so.
there's this black goo that came here around the Babylonian times. I mean, and according to my story, it was around 3000 BC. And they came here and energetically took over the matrix around the earth so they could feed off of our energy. So they had to dumb us down. They genetically did things to humans. We had a flood. So that was almost like genocide in a sense.
But then again, if they were to flood and get rid of millions, isn't that defeating the purpose that they're going for by taking our energy to begin with?
Well,
How do they get?
the thing
In
that
other words,
they
if they kill us off, how do they draw off our energy?
the thing that they had to do, they had to commit genocide, right, to begin with. So they created a new human population and they manipulated the DNA to be connected to this, it was already connected to the matrix around the earth, but they had to manipulate it so that they could siphon that energy from us.
Now, do you remember the Orson Welles War of the Worlds? I believe it was in 1938.
Yeah, I kind of generally know the story.
Right. Millions of people were frightened, of course. They thought it was real. It was a radio broadcast. And, some people even went to the extent of committing suicide.
Right.
During that broadcast. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel that's a precursor that's leading up to where we are today. I believe what the powers that be are going to do is create a false flag in the way of an alien invasion, where they're going to use holographics or holograms that'll look so real that people will think there's alien ships in the sky firing weapons when in reality the weapon firing will be done by the military itself.
Yeah.
I just like to get your thoughts on that.
That's a possibility. My concern is the human population, because people
because their agenda is to eventually eliminate 95% of the world population.
Yeah, there's some sort of agenda out there to do that. And, so my goal is for people to like evolve, use their gifts. Everybody has these gifts. And the best defense is the best offense. You need to like elevate yourself, your mind, your abilities, so that you can see through the smoke and mirrors.
Well, yeah, more and more people are starting to wake up and see
Right.
the writing on the wall. But the thing is, there's also the question as to whether or not it's too late by now, because with all the technology they have, who
Yeah.
was it? It was Eisenhower that warned years ago about the industrial military complex. And he said to be very careful with that, because today, in reality, that's what we would have to go up against. And that wouldn't be an easy thing. Historically, we could have revolutions or whatever, but you can't do that today, because you're up against a power that you can't really defeat.
Yeah, you have to be very careful in your approach, which I have to be. I mean, I do have people remote viewing me and my work.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that I do too, and probably Bradley as well, because
and they're not just low level type people. So
which brings the question, the topic of the day. First of all, thank you, Chris Joan Marie, Vic Makaroff, and Steve Parr for joining us. The topic of the day, the discussion of the Esoteric Hours show is: have you been blessed with paranormal phenomenal gifts? If so, what are they? Are they gifts? Are they curses? How long have you had them? Are gifts, paranormal phenomenal gifts, true or false, Julie?
Well, I think, in my opinion, the original gift is life itself at birth. What we do with it from there is up to us. Now, as far as what you consider a gift, I would say is something that somebody would strive for and learn and earn on their own, not be blessed with it, but have a passion to go down that road and acquire it and earn it. So to me, like a singer or an artist or whatever, it's not gifted. They just earned it, yearned it, and earned it. The original gift is life. From that point on, what you do with it is up to you.
I do believe we are born with them. It's a matter of discovering them and developing them.
Right. We all have the ability, is what I'm saying. In other words, if we want something bad, and if we want something bad enough, and we strive for it, we can achieve it.
Right. Absolutely. Totally. 100%.
So technically, it's not a gift. It's there if you want it. All you have to do is seek it out.
Yeah. I do know people that have been blessed with, I've seen this in Akashic records where I can see that they have electricity coming from their hands and they're a healer and they were born with this. And they did know as a child that they had this gift and they used it. This person's father kind of encouraged it because he had the same kind of gifts. And they're not using them. They're not using this ability now. So, and
is it by choice that they're not using it, or has it been?
Yeah, it's the society's their beliefs about it. So they have fear in using those gifts and approaching people and going, well, I picked this up on you and or whatever psychic information, and people don't respond well to that all the time. So that's why they don't use it.
Well, I mean, in a time of need, I think with someone close to them or someone that really needs help, I don't think they'd hesitate in helping someone. I mean, it doesn't have to be out on the public stage.
Right, right. I mean, just in general, with, I got divorced. I have 2 boys. They don't believe in any of this stuff. So I've been disenfranchised by them.
Well,
They don't speak to me anymore.
that bad, huh?
Yeah. I have had to struggle to be my own person and live my own truth and speak my own truth for so long that I'm not turning back. I'm not going to suppress who I am any longer,
Well, that's your path. I mean, that's
Right.
where you're driven to go. I mean, that's what you're meant to do.
Right. Right. It's always been. So, what other gifts do you have, Jim? I'm used to being the podcast.
Well, I don't say much about myself. I don't like to broadcast it. Basically, what I do is,
I got it.
no, basically what I do is when somebody's in need, I do the best I can to help them,
All right.
I mean, a lot of people, a lot of the viewers here already know that I'm into energetic healing, which I've been successful at, which I've actually, performed over the internet. And
Right.
I got people that can attest to that. I don't normally talk about it or broadcast it or charge any fees for it. I just do it out of the goodness of my heart.
Fabulous. I had to work to develop mine through my path and my healing. And
well, what initiated mine was my alien abduction experience.
Okay.
Hi there, Neil Forrester, Marianne Clark. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Marianne.
I'm familiar with a variety of paranormal phenomenal gifts. I have encountered or experienced remote viewing, telepathy, telekinesis at random, clairvoyance, medium, psychic. Yes, I'm not a full-time psychic, so I never claimed to be one, although I have had psychic tendencies.
I don't know about psychic, but I know I'm psychotic at times.
Yeah, Jim is psychotic. Yeah. Sometimes Jim could kill me.
No, I won't do that.
Like when I don't show up for the show, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's
yeah,
that can tend to irritate me somewhat. Yeah.
Yes, mind reading, spirit reading, shadow mage. So as you can see, I've experienced quite a lot of phenomena. However, I am still on a journey of self-discovery. I do not know how to switch these gifts on or off at this moment in time, and I shall discover the answer. However, not today. I don't know how to switch the gifts on or off. Therefore, they are random, spontaneously random. However, most of them are blessings, although I have been cursed as well 4 times, and the curses involve attacks from demonic entities. And they choose to attack me to cause me to change my path because they don't wish me to continue the path I'm following because it's a righteous path. They wish to frighten me and scare me. However, I just hold fast and brace myself. They don't scare me, not anymore. And I actually feel honored that I am worthy of their time. There's not all demons are bad. There's good demons and bad demons. I've encountered angels on 4 separate occasions and many, many varieties of spiritual entities. I can't name them all because it's quite a lot. And I have been blessed more than cursed. Although I've been cursed and blessed, I've been blessed more than cursed. And also, I've met you guys. So that's a blessing, isn't it? That's brought me here today.
Yeah, I feel that we all connect for a reason.
That's right.
Jim Eager says low entropy consciousness is a loving consciousness. Neil
Brad
Foister
and
says,
Jim.
Brad and Jim fill me with good energy. Nice to meet you, Julie.
Neil Foister is also a member of my team, and Neil, contact me, video call me, let's chat. It's been a long time, Neil.
Chris Joan Marie says, empath and mystic. I also dream things that come true. I also read people and situations. Maybe we can have Chris Joan Marie on the show one of these days.
Yeah.
If she's willing to come on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Have her read me now.
There you go, Chris. Give Julianne a reading.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Neil Foister, put that up there, Jim. Neil Foister's saying something. What's Neil saying?
Neil Foister says, love you, Brad.
He's on.
Love you, Brad. Oh, that's very kind of you, Neil. Likewise, I thought we put that up in lights. Thank you for saying that, Neil. Like I say, contact me anytime, Neil. I'm available for you 24/7 mostly. And it would be nice to have a catch up and see how you're getting on. As you can see, we're still around. Facebook haven't got rid of us yet.
One day at a
although
time.
They're working on it. And as you can see, you're probably confused whether I'm Jim or Bradley because we've both got our hats on today. So it is a little bit confusing, isn't it?
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, Chris Joan Marie says that Julianne comes across calm and collected, also confident.
Yeah, there's a couple marbles, just you can't hear them clanking.
Well, it could be worse. You could be like me. When I talk, I hear a lot of echoing going on.
Oh, no.
I'm just
Hi there, Tiffany Reynolds.
Oh, geez. You're talking about entity or curses. So in this journey of mine, I discovered that there's this huge curse that happened in 3000 BC, and it's connected to what happened there. So there's a lot of stuff that went down there. So I'm still affected by that curse. And I have been from lifetime to lifetime. So, my buddy back then was Gilgamesh. And so we were both cursed. And so he said he'd help me. So through all these lifetimes, we get to experience each other dying horrific deaths. And, there's like multitudes of different levels of this curse. So that's, one of my goals is to be free from that thing. Anybody?
Chris Joan Marie, Bradley. Chris Joan Marie says her last name is Bradley.
Well, then she has been blessed.
And my story does have a lot to do with black magic being used. So my great-grandmother she used a lot of black magic. And she was connected to the Freemasons. So she used a lot of black magic on me in this lifetime as a child. And I'm sure.
And who was that? Your grandmother, you said?
My great-grandmother.
Well, your great-grandmother.
Yeah. Yep. It's all this. It's a very strange story, but it's all connected. It all has to do with black magic and the Freemasons using black magic.
Well, yeah, those are the ones who have been in control for how many years now?
Right. The Freemasons recognize that Lucifer is a grand architecture.
And so this is interesting. You'll love this. Okay. I'm going to share a sneak peek of my upcoming commentary about my hypnosis. So I was Thomas Paine, and I don't know if you know who he is, what he did. He was an American revolutionary. He was from England, and he had met Benjamin Franklin early on. In fact, Benjamin Franklin wrote a letter for him to come to the States. He was around 33 years old. But in this hypnosis, what came out was that Benjamin Franklin and the British were architecting the United States.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but while you're on that line there, I still believe today that the United States is under British rule.
Well,
and,
it's all
that's one of the reasons why our capital here in the U.S. is District of Columbia, Washington D.C., and not a part of the rest of the states.
This is all connected. This is the Illuminati that goes back to the Babylonian times. That's come through the royals and whatnot. You know. So yeah, that's what came out in my hypnosis, was that this was all being architected even before the revolution. With Benjamin Franklin, there was backdoor deals going on.
Well, you notice today there is a lot less kings and queens and kingdoms like there used to be throughout history.
They're still there.
Well, yeah, they're still there, but in a deceptive. In other words, years ago, if you didn't like what was going on, the people could rise and overthrow the kingdom, right? But today they're so spread out and so elusive, you don't really even have a target.
Well, they have a big network. You know, you're referring to the 1%, the Illuminati.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's no target. So, in other words, it's a lot harder to overthrow, if you will, than it was throughout history.
So,
Julie Ann, Guthrie Smolson, do you know Jenna Lee? Jenna Lee?
No, I don't.
Jenna Lee would like you to inbox her after the show, if possible.
Okay. Sure will. You know, and you know, there's this other thing going on in society. So I have a lot of suppressed, repressed memories, delayed memories because of this going on. So, you know, we have agendas put into society, such as, you know, false memories. So, you know, there's professors getting paid for these research to come up with the answers they want to come up with.
Well, yeah, that's all by design. I mean, everything is by design. You've got racial conflicts. You've got
exactly.
You know, all this stuff is by design. So, in other words, it's called divide and conquer.
So
in other words, they're in control of everything while we're fighting amongst ourselves.
Exactly.
So in other words, they got us fighting against ourselves instead of going where we should be going, which is against the establishment.
Exactly. And also that creates a certain energy, right? So that's creating fear and anger and hatred. And that's the type of energy that this dark source is feeding off of.
Chris Joan Marie says, my mom told me about my grandfather when I was young. Him being a Mason Shriner was an issue for her. They were very rich, my grandfather, and my mother believes a curse was put on us.
It's very possible.
And then she goes on to say, I have special prayers to break the curses. I say them daily.
I wasn't even aware of these for a few thousand years. So, you know, I even saw one of my past lives where I believe it was a sky witch that cursed me and killed me.
Jenna Lee, my advice, Jenna Lee, is have you considered contacting Julie Ann Guthrie Smolson yourself. That might be easier, actually. Just a
Yeah,
thought.
that's easier. It's easier.
Okay, just a thought.
Generally also
It's
says
easier to
related
find
to
than
ancient and complex curses.
Yeah. Ancient and complex curses, that's for sure. Yeah. We can't limit our beliefs because there's so much we don't know. So we can't limit our possibilities.
Yes, like Chris Joan Marie says, but I now believe I'm an omnist. I believe in everything.
So do we, what do we do as a society? I have a question. And my approach is to help these people evolve with their spiritual gifts, learn and grow. You know, that's my intention, my angle, as well as to bring forth the truth. Yeah, there's too many stubborn people and also a lot of brainwashed people that aren't willing to let go of those beliefs that have been ingrained in them.
Well, that's the thing. A belief is nothing more than a belief. It's, in other words, a belief is a possibility. It's not truth. It's
Right,
just what you happen to believe.
right.
And the first step towards wisdom is to admit to yourself that you're actually ignorant and don't know anything at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because of these beliefs through religion itself, what does it cause? It causes conflicts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Beyond to a religious wars and loss of life because they're so passionate about their beliefs,
Right,
which in reality could be furthest from the truth.
right. I mean, over in a desert somewhere for the last 2,000 years, they've been fighting over land. What,
Well,
over
I don't know.
beliefs.
We see ourselves as being intelligent, but you know, I mean, it's bad enough that we're living in a random, chaotic, unforgiving realm to begin with. You know,
Right.
nature can be random and chaotic, right? Naturally.
Hmm.
So why would an intelligent species such as ourselves build and come up with technology that could wipe us out at any given moment? So in other words, they come up with these devastating weapons to protect them from who? No one but themselves. Does that make any sense?
No, it doesn't. No.
I
We're
mean,
so
how
we're so
intelligent is
intelligent.
that? How intelligent is that?
It's not.
I mean,
It's
that
not.
that shows that we have an intelligence that is somewhat flawed, right? I mean, any species capable of knowing better and deliberately saving lives with one hand while destroying lives with the other has an intelligence which is somewhat flawed.
It's it's very flawed. It's very flawed thinking. But I think it goes back to that whole agenda of creating fear, you know.
Well, yeah, they
And
use that as a tool, and within religion itself, that's all there is.
right,
Religion is fear based, no matter how you
right.
look at it.
Well,
They teach you to fear the dark side, negativity, evil, beyond to an entity called Satan. And on the other end of the coin, you're also taught to fear the wrath of the good and loving God if you do not do His will, and if you sin, you will be condemned to eternal damnation, right? Which could be scarier than Satan himself. And the bar for sinning is set so high. There's no one that ever walked the face of the earth that never sinned. So it's
right.
all about control. If they use fear as a control. A few use the fear control to control the masses. That's all that
Well,
is.
and they feed off of that energy
Right. And it's
of
nothing
their
more than a
existence.
brainwashing. It's
Yeah,
nothing more than a brainwashing. That's
these
all it
people
is.
are very, very sick people. They find joy in pain. Um, in whatever form that is.
Okay.
Vic Makarov says it's all ego-based negative emotions, and I agree. And that's what man's downfall is going to be, is his ego.
Then also, religious teachings do teach love, but everyone ignores that because they're so attached to the fear that, they ignore the love. That's where everything should be placed, is in that, peaceful, joyful, compassionate, empathetic. I'd choose that over anything else myself.
Well, but that also breeds jealousy. See, now they blame Satan for jealousy when the good and loving God admits that he's a jealous God. So figure that one out.
So my story's kind of interesting. I found out Gilgamesh was Satan. And he was also Adam. So that'll mess with your mind. I said, I'm not going to touch this. I'm just going to set it aside. We can go down that rabbit hole some other day. But there was a time here in our existence that it was peaceful and loving. That's what we knew here until these beings came here. This ego-based, negative, greedy, power-hungry consciousness came here and infected our consciousness, our collective consciousness. So there's so much out there going on that people don't even realize. I worked with an intergalactic shaman, and after having that experience, it's just like I almost had an existential crisis because I went around angry. I'm just like, people are so stupid because there's all this stuff going on over here you're not even aware of, and you're caught up in this mundane crap. And you're okay with being at that level of intellect and feeding into your own belief system that way. So, people need to evolve. They need to learn. They need to exercise their mind. They need to exercise their psychic gifts and the paranormal. Go explore that,
Well, basically what this is a prison planet.
Right.
We're born, we work, we do hard labor all our lives while being on death row.
There are beings, doing this if you go and watch this last podcast I did, it was very interesting. So this person was in the Navy here in this timeline. And he was actually going into special ops room and getting information. And somehow there was an exchange of his existence with his future self, where he was taking this information to the future. And he was talking about different portals, different beings. I was seeing the different portals. He was talking about the Titan moon system. I don't know what planet that is. Is it Saturn? But there's a portal there where beings are coming from very far away. So this was his Akashic record reading. So
all this boils down to is the universe experiencing itself in a gazillion different ways all at one time.
Yeah, exactly. That's we are existing all at one time, but how this is coming through in the Akashic records, I've had a couple people ask about this, is that we're not in timelines so much, it's like the human existence believes in linear time. These are more like GPS locations of experiences.
Right. Yeah, because all we ever have is the moment, the here and now.
Right.
That's all you're. There's
Right.
nothing more, you know.
Yeah, and so in my investigation, in my story, I had at least 3 soul existences happening simultaneously. So I was a white woman that was well-to-do. I was a black slave, and I was Thomas Paine all at the same time.
Well, yeah, I believe there's different dimensions and parallel universes.
Right, right. So
So no matter how you look at it, you know, the possibilities are endless.
absolutely, absolutely, we can't limit ourselves.
Yeah.
And I refer to that as soul splitting in a sense. But maybe I'm wrong there. But the whole purpose of having those simultaneous lifetimes or existences, experiences, is so that the soul can have those experiences. So in their future existence or other location existence, they have that wisdom to take with them. They've already learned that lesson. So where do we go from here?
Well, like I was saying about that Orson Welles broadcast there, I think that was like a test to see the reaction of the masses. And then not long after that was in 1947, you had the Roswell incident, you know, where all of a sudden we got these crashed UFOs and everybody starts talking about it and the government keeps trying to, you know, keep quiet whatever information they can. And recently now, Pentagon has come out with, yes, we do admit there is crafts we can't identify. The way they maneuver, we can't duplicate that. You know, so now I believe they're leading up to that false flag that'll be coming to a theater near us of a fake alien invasion.
So I have some other friends that do a podcast, and they kind of went into this, and but what they went into was the Freedom of Information Act and how it's just a shell game because they rename all the programs.
Of course, I mean, you
And
know,
so you
you're
can't
not
get the
right,
information.
exactly. And when they do release information, half of it, or maybe even 90% of it, is redacted. So
Exactly.
so what are they really giving you? Nothing.
Right. Right.
And
So
what they do give you, you can't trust what you're reading anyway.
exactly. And they went on a little deep dive of the MK Ultra and the CIA programs, Stargate and whatnot. So, these
Yeah, and
programs.
that's another thing. They got the space program now, right? Uh, Space Force, which is actually a third, fourth, or fifth arm of the government services like Navy, Army, Marines. Now you got Space Force, and I tell you,
Yeah,
that's all going to lead. That's all leading up.
it's just a shell
That's
game.
right. That's all leading up to a false flag alien invasion. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah. So the more people can expand their minds and tap into their own psychic abilities, you can see some of this stuff. And to tell you the truth, some of this stuff has been covered with black magic. It's been shielded from psychics tapping into it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been done with, the Pentagon, military bases, whatnot.
Well, if the agenda does complete, in other words, if they're successful with their agenda in eliminating 95% of the world population, in your opinion, would that be a good thing or a bad thing? I know it would be a bad thing for the 95%, but after that is said and done, it would reset the balance. In other words, the balance is way out of whack. So if they were successful in their agenda, in your opinion, would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
The earth is done at that point, in my opinion. But do I think it's going there? No, because I have encountered so many people like us, and I know there's more doing the same thing.
But
And people,
what can we really do about it, though, is the question.
we're talking about it, number one.
Right. Well, that's a start. But I mean, it's going to definitely take more than conversation to.
Right. So everyone's little cup of water is going to help that.
I don't know.
People, there's a lot of people out there that they want the truth. They're still living this mundane life, but they know there's something more. They want the truth. Those people will cross over to be with us so we can fight and protect ourselves.
But you gotta consider what we're up against.
I understand. I do understand it. The story of mine is one of those cups of water. This goes back to Babylon times. This goes to the creation of the United States. And so now we're here, we're at this point, and the same crap is happening, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, history repeats itself.
Right.
So if it couldn't have been remedied easier back then, historically, how do you figure we can remedy it now?
We have
at its worst time.
I do feel that humanity has a lot more information that they didn't have 230 years ago. And we have evolved since that time, and just in the last 50 years here, we have evolved as humans. We now all agree there's aliens out there, right? So there's a potential that we all agree have to be on the same page, regardless of politics or whatever else.
Well, that's the thing. You see, the power lies with we the people, but the problem is not enough people stick together. We can talk the way we're talking now, right? Everybody say, yeah, they're for us and they agree with us. Yeah, let's fight. And then when it comes time to make that stand, we'll look around and we're standing there by ourselves. That's the way it's been throughout history.
Right.
What do you think is going to change it today? And they know that, and that's why they get away with it constantly with what they do.
I'm going to have to open the Akashic records and take a deeper dive on the subject here. So,
in other words, they got us arguing so much with each other that
I did kind of ask this question before, and the thing is, the people need to know what is in it for them. What is in it for them? What are they going to benefit from it? That's the key there. And it doesn't necessarily have to be money, material things. They have to understand the bigger picture of it, which a lot of people don't yet. So that's why we're talking.
Well, I mean, if there's reincarnation and nature is a never-ending recycling process, another question would be, what's the difference whether we go one at a time or 95% all at once? The bottom line, what would the difference be?
Well, this structure here, this Earth structure and our solar system it's like the Pleiades. The Pleiades is gone because these are the same entities from the Pleiades that came here to feed. And so we're looking at being extinct like the Pleiades.
Well, that's another reality. I mean, if I myself were to think that the human species will last forever, I think I would be fooling myself. All species become extinct at one time or another. So I think it's inevitable that no matter when or how, a day will come when the human species becomes extinct.
Very good possibility.
One law of nature is nothing lasts forever.
Right.
So humans ain't going to be any different, no matter how intelligent they think they are.
Right. We used to be very intelligent prior to this infiltration back in Babylon. We vibrated at a different level. We were more intelligent. We had all the spiritual gifts. We lived a different way, and so it's a possibility we could go back to that existence, that way of.
Well, yeah, that would be on a reset. That would be on a reset. Like if they were successful in their agenda to eliminate 95% of the world population. What they're doing in reality is just taking over where Hitler left off. But they're doing it in a different way.
These are the same people generation after generation after generation. And how I see it in my sessions is this is the black goo with puppet strings to the people.
Well, of course, yeah.
And
I mean, everything is all by design.
that's
yes.
connected to the 1%.
You see, Hitler was the cause back then, and so he could be targeted and defeated, which he was. But in the manner in which they do it today, as I said before, it's practically an invisible target.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to say, oh yeah, well, let's all get together as a collective and uprise. The invisible is so spread out, it's practically invisible.
Yeah, it's the matrix. It's the shadow, the curtain, that not many people can see past. There's,
But even if you
maybe in
could,
my magical thinking that,
but my question would be, even if you could, what would be your recourse?
Recourse in resetting,
being able to do anything about it.
It really comes down to each individual,
Well, exactly.
And a lot of people have chosen to be in this existence, this experience right now, and we chose to be here together to experience this.
So in other words, if they're successful at their agenda at that point in time, with just I don't know, what, 5 million or 500,000 people, whatever it is, the world would then be like a utopia, right? The only way a new world can be born is out of the rubble of the old.
Right.
So at that point in time, would it be a good thing or a bad thing?
In
other words, it has to be reset one way or another.
According to my story, I don't know everything. It's not set in stone. But according to my investigation, this is a reverse rapture. This process would be a reverse rapture. So instead of the good people going away, the bad people go away, and the good people stay.
I got what you're saying.
Well, thank you for your interesting concept. We are coming to the end of the show now, and it's been a pleasure to listen to you, Julie.
Well, thank you, Bradley.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Julie. We appreciate
We'd
it.
like to have you back again sometime. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you all for being a part of our show. Until next time, thank you.
Okay, we'll call it a day.
Thank you, Julie.
All right.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you.